Hello children, very happy to see you all back. We have seen one chapter, sorting of substances, materials into groups. What is the need of sorting and all grouping, isn't it? Okay. Now today we are moving to a fresh topic, that is separation of substances. In that chapter we will see what is the need of separation and the different methods of separation. Okay, on moving to our topic, need of separation. Now we can see what is the need of separation. Or before moving to that need of separation, we can see some examples when from the life situation when we use that separation technique. Okay, you imagine that your mother has given you vegetable fried rice for eating. So in front of you there is vegetable fried rice. So definitely in that when you are before starting eating, what you will do? Those unwanted materials you will be picking it with your hands. If any leaves are there, such as coriander leaves or curry leaves are there, those you will be picking up, isn't it? And then if any beans such as vegetables, if you don't like, you will be picking it and keeping them separately, the chilies and all, right? So in that vegetable fried rice, it is a mixture. So many components, so many things are mixed together, that you know. So a mixture means more than two or more than two components will be there in a mixture. Okay, so in a mixture, two or more than two components will be present there. At that time, if there is any unwanted materials are there, we will separate it by picking it. Okay, then suppose you have given a basket of mangoes and guavas, how will you separate them? Yes, by seeing you know the differences between the shapes and all. So definitely you will pick it by hands and you will keep them separately. Okay, now you have seen two situations where we are adopting separation technique, isn't it? Okay, now we can see what is the need of separation. First thing is that if any unwanted materials such as harmful and non-harmful materials are present there together, wanted and unwanted materials are there together. So we can say first condition is that if there are harmful and non-harmful materials are present together, then we will separate them before using. That mixture components will be separated before we use it. For example, that rice, your mother has taken, many cases you might have seen that before cooking your mother will be taking that rice in a plate, and if stone pieces and husk, all other things are there, she will be picking it with her hands. You might have seen it. So those unwanted, if it is stone, it will be harmful materials. If it is husk and all, it will be unwanted materials, so non-harmful materials. So harmful and non-harmful materials are present together in a mixture. We will adopt separation technique for separating the components in a mixture. Okay, then what is the second condition? The second condition is that, before telling the second condition, I will give you an example. That is, you take milk. Imagine that in that milk, you know that butter is present, ghee is present, isn't it? Everything we are paneer, all these we are getting from different ways from the milk or curd, right? So, all these are present in single milk. So, if we want to use them as separately, as if we want to use them as ghee or if we want to use them as butter, what we have to do? We have to separate these components from that mixture. So, if more than one useful components are present in a mixture, if we want to use them separately, that time also we will separate the components of a mixture, right? So, the second condition is that 2 or more than 2 or more than 2 useful components are present together. Useful components are present together, and if we want to use them separately, then we will separate the components of this mixture by adopting a suitable technique. So, these are the need for the separation. Why do we need to separate the components of a mixture? Two conditions are the if in a mixture harmful and non-harmful materials are present together. Before using it, we have to use the components separately. And more than 2 useful components are present in a mixture together. So, if we want to use them separately, that time also we have to separate it. The components to be separated before being used. Right? Now, we can see different separation techniques one by one. Methods of separation. First method is hand picking. When we use this method of hand picking for separation of the components of a mixture, just now we have seen that before cooking the rice, your mother have taken that rice in a plate and picked all those unwanted materials and separated it, isn't it? So, hand picking is a method if the quantity of impurities are less. In any mixture, if the impurities are present in very small quantity, then we will adopt hand picking method. So, there are two conditions for adopting the hand picking method. First one is quantity of impurities. Quantity of impurities should not be very large. Impurities should be smaller in quantities, then we can adopt this hand picking method. And one more condition is that to adopt the hand picking, that is that impurities and the components of a mixture should have a considerable difference in their sizes. Okay, so slightly larger sized impurities can be separated by using the hand picking method. Slightly larger sized impurities. Slightly larger sized impurities can be slightly larger sized impurities can be separated by using the hand picking method. So, these are the two conditions to adopt hand picking method for the separation of the components of a mixture. First condition is that quantity of impurities should not be very large, and the second one is size, that impurities size should be larger than the size of the components. Okay, so these are the two conditions When we meet these two conditions, then we will feel that hand picking will be the convenient method of separation. Clear? Now we can move to second method of separation, that is threshing. Have you heard the term threshing? That term you might haven't heard it. Okay, but that situations you might have seen it movies, or sometimes you will be seeing it, you might have seen it directly after harvesting the paddy or that wheat. You might have seen that stalks will be kept there in open field and all for drying. Okay, so why they are keeping it for drying? To separate the seeds. And you might have seen that in a single stalk a large number of seeds will be attached. How will you detach the seeds from the stalk? For that we are adopting this threshing method. Okay, so if it is 1 or 2 we can pick it by hands, but if it is more than 100, lots of seeds will be attached there with a single stalk. So such situation we cannot adopt that hand picking method. So we will adopt the technique of threshing there. At that time what we are doing is, once we are making the bundles of stalks there, and that bundles of stalks are beaten there to separate the seeds and stalks. Bundles of stalks are beaten there to separate the seeds. Bundles of stalks are beaten to separate seeds. So stalks we are keeping them as different bundles there, and that bundles we are beating them to separate the seeds and stalks. And that beating can be done either by using the machines. Sometimes we can adopt machines for beating or separating the seeds from the stalks, or by using bullocks. Two conditions are there. We can adopt bullocks. We can take that bullocks for separating that seeds and stalks there, or we can beat by using machines. Okay. So this is how the seeds are separated from the stalks after harvesting. Farmers normally doing this method of separation. So these are the two different methods of separation. We have seen that hand picking and threshing and before that we have seen what is the need of separation. I think this much is clear to you. Thank you, children.